even give a Super Smash Brothers spin-off game, which is funny to think about. But
oh, that'd be so weird.
it's a topic for a different time. Right now we got okay. All right. So this is the thing that really confused me. So this is Nick Roy, but he changed his tag to Polaris, which I didn't know about until like 10 minutes ago. So our explosion boy, known as Polaris now, he's been doing his snake thing a little bit throughout the Chicago scene, getting more of a feel for this character. And we have Polar on a character that does not have anything to do with ice at all.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I was kind of surprised to see Incineroar in here. I think this might be the first match I have actually seen Incineroar compete in tournaments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, dude. Incineroar's pretty cool. I don't know how good of a character he is, but I like the way he is designed. He's a cool character.
He's a super cool character. Unfortunately, kind of like Ridley, he doesn't have a lot in terms of like really speedy, reliable moves. And he does, unlike Ridley, he doesn't really have a projectile game.
He's dead.
He's also dead.
He's dead. There's nothing you can do. So this matchup sucks for so this matchup is like 100-0, as Mick would say. Mostly because like Snake's not too shabby when it comes to close-up action to begin with, and not more so than that. He's got so many tools to keep you away. If you get off stage as Incineroar and Polaris doesn't mess up, you're dead. You're dead. There's nothing you can do. Your recovery is so linear.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And while Incineroar's recovery did get buffed in this most recent patch, it wasn't necessarily enough to give him legitimately good recovery. He's still very gimpable off the edge just because his recovery hits such a specific angle. But he is able to get a sweet back air off of Polaris. Falcon.
That was a Falcon punch.
That was a Falcon punch right there. Those of you who are watching the VOD, I ate a thing of fried Falcon earlier, and currently am suffering the consequences, much like Polar getting up-aired by Snake and getting sent to a sweet 94%.
So he missed the ability to go ahead and capitalize on the Polaris there with his side B. That's unfortunate because I believe that would have taken the stock, even though I really don't know how powerful that move is, but most of what Incineroar dishes out is strong.
As someone whose training buddy uses Incineroar consistently, yeah.
Strong boy?
Yeah, very strong boy.
He is one feral cat, dude.
Well, I mean, Incineroar is not like the greatest character, but at the same time, he does have some pretty solid kill confirms with his side B. His revenge mechanic is super useful if you can get it going consistently.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said if Polar, because he did utilize his ability to use revenge once before already. If he catches one of those projectiles from Snake, and then he decides to revenge, he becomes even stronger. That could be huge for Polar.
Yeah, absolutely. He takes a little bit of damage, but overall, at the end of the day, it's absolutely worth having basically every single one of your moves turn into a kill confirm.
So I really like that interaction that just happened between Polar and Polaris. It was almost like a testing the water sort of thing for Polaris. He threw out his Nokita missile, right? And he went up immediately after. He just wanted to see if Polar was going to revenge. He wanted to get a feel for what he was doing immediately so he can plan around using Nokita for the rest of the match. I like that.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, I gotta give respects to Polar. He's doing much better against Polaris and Snake than I thought this matchup would go. He's really able to bob and weave through a lot of these projectiles because, I mean, I'm guessing this is a situation where like you play against a lot of Snakes, you're not really playing against a lot of Incineroars. Polaris is still doing really well for facing such a seldom played character in bracket.
Yeah, Polaris doing a lot more of what I expected from this matchup. Just a lot of grenades, a lot of keep-away tactics. He knows now that Nokita missile isn't as reliable because of revenge. With that being said, though, if Polar wanted to, he could pretty easily just soak up a revenge from one of those grenades.
See, that's what I was about to say, actually. Like, because Polaris is just throwing out those grenades willy-nilly, every time it even tricks Polar, he could activate revenge and get some easy free stocks on that special move. Ooh.
Just missed. Yeah, that Nokita missile just missed.
Tanking right through the Nikita. This is... Ooh, baby, we got setups, Polaris.
Oh, yeah. Snake is already so good at getting setups to begin with, and when you're going against a character who just doesn't have a very good recovery, the chance of him actually making it back to stage successfully are pretty bad. I don't know why he went that direction.
Yeah,
I have no clue why he went in that direction.
Interesting interaction.
Why did he go in that direction? Did I miss something? He definitely got hit from his butt, and he went forward. What happened? I think I'm going insane.
I mean, oh, baby. We got a solid fair coming in from Polar, evening out this game somewhat. Because now he's dead.
Yes, only somewhat. There's only a somewhat balance.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he was at 161%. It was Snake. The down throw to up tilt confirm is just too strong, especially for a beefier boy like Polar.
Yeah, this one just seems rough for Incineroar. Not only do you have to work on getting in, and you have to really focus and really be patient when it comes to actually getting in on Snake. If Snake is able to get you off stage, you're gonna have one hell of a time trying to get back. Oh my goodness gracious!
I do think he's doing a pretty decent job in neutral. Like, he's getting aerials in where he can. He's getting damage in as much as he can. But the one thing I would say he needs to take advantages of is the gimmick that comes with Incineroar. You just got to revenge a lot more, especially when your opponent is much more willing to throw out those projectiles, hit you from a distance. Like, even the slightest peck can make every move a kill confirm.
Yeah, I agree. Incineroar's best tactic in this matchup is going to be scare tactics, being as scary as possible. They kind of like that feeling where you were going against like a Bowser or an Ike in Smash 4, and even though you were only like 20%, you were scared. You were terrified. It's like facing a cloud with limit. You know that any move that he does next could be your last. You got to utilize that as Incineroar. Revenge. Always be willing to just throw out smash attacks, dude. Just be crazy. That's how you're going to win this match, I think.
That's true. I mean, don't spam it.
Don't spam it.
Yeah, let's clarify. Don't spam Revenge. It's still a very exploitable move. But I think if you master the timing and like when to use it as projectiles are flying at you, that's how Incineroar wins this matchup.
Yeah, I think the key definitely is just make your opponent believe that you're insane. I think that's a genuine tactic. Like he just, dude, I was going against Incineroar and he just kept throwing things out like I wasn't even near him, like he was crazy. And then you just get nervous.
Yeah. Every time I tried to zone him out, he like downbeat and revenged, and I just kept dying. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Make Snake pee himself. That's how you win this matchup. Make him urinate. That's it.
You know snakes pee through their skin?
Do they?
Yeah.
Man.
It's so weird, but they totally do.
Aren't you glad that you turned into Tripoint today to make sure that Tripoint 47 make sure
we're basically Nat Geo at this point.
Man, we got falcons and owls. We got cats. It's just been one animal fest so far on stream.
I mean, the animal fest that we're seeing right now is Polar coming in with a solid combo and getting Polaris up to 130. 2 kill. He has taken the first stock from this game. Polar doing work.
Yeah, you can't count out the power of Incineroar whatsoever. Like we said before, this is one strong cat. The only thing is, he's just going to have trouble actually getting around to a lot of Snake's better tools, like this right here. Like, what do you do?
He could just do that. He could just keep doing that, and that's a dead Incineroar.
He didn't have a choice. I mean, he had to try to air dodge back on stage, and once he missed, there's no way his recovery was going to be good enough.
Yeah, honestly, and like, especially when you're able to just spam up smash like that.
Exactly,
just
yeah.
letting that happen, like, you can't do much when you don't have a lot of tools to combat it.
I can't remember who I was on. I can't remember if it was, I think it was Sturm I was on commentary with, where I was like, dude, if Snake still had his same technically I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're really not.
That's what I used to call it when I was a pleb. If he had the same down smash as he did in Brawl, this character would just be a trap machine. Like, you would never be able to get close if you were someone like Incineroar.
Yeah. Of course, Brawl Snake had like way bigger hitboxes because he was originally meant to be a way heavier character, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And of course, in this game, he's still pretty hefty, able to get these blows in on Polar, giving each other even percentage.
So he's actually able to get rid of that Revenge there. Revenge is kind of a weird move. We've been talking about it a little bit when it comes to Incineroar. I don't know if it's been buffed at all. I can't remember. I do know that if you throw Incineroar, it just takes away Revenge.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, Revenge is a really solid gimmick, but it is somewhat exploitable.
It is a gimmick.
It is a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. It can be relatively strong, but at the end of the day, it's like limit from Smash 4, but not as good.
Yeah, I think I'd liken it to Puff Rest, just because if whiffed, it is super punishable, and if hit, it could be really punishing. Like that right there, I believe that blew a Revenge stock, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Polar's trying to get back on stage, trying to use that missile just to sort of throw off Polar a little bit. Polar wasn't having any of it. A little drop kick, and all of a sudden, Polar is ahead in the game by quite a bit.
Yeah, I really respect Polar here. He's playing a much more difficult character to do well with, and he's keeping up with one of the higher tiered characters in the game, and a skilled player at that.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where he might have gotten dead.
How is that not a kill? I mean, I'm happy for you, Polar, don't get me wrong, but I'm just confused. Okay, there it is.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just dumb.
Literally. That's literally my thought process right now. Oh, man. And I'll tell you what Polaris' thought process is. Throwing out these projectiles, get him to even percent. Ooh.
He's got the revenge. You can't... Here's the thing, though. If you're going to go ahead and give Incineroar revenge, just keep doing what you were doing before. Just do this. Like, in this situation right now, the only thing that Polar is really going to do at this point is try to get him to utilize his revenge. But if you just keep him away, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot better projectile setups from Polaris, too. Like, making it a lot harder for Polar to get in just because of the amount of explosions.
Yo!
Oh, that was almost a breakage shield.
Watch your shield, man, dude. It's the size of an orange. The size...
That's not a word.
I was going to let you ride in your pain a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you who else is writhing in his pain. Polaris with that up throw from Polar, evening out this set.
Yeah, dude. All of a sudden, a little bit of a comeback from Polar. This matchup really seemed like in game one, it was just almost hopeless. I mean, this is a matchup that I think that at its core could be like 70-30. And I know a lot of people think that it's way too early to start calling stuff like that, but this matchup seems bad.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like we said earlier, it's just hard for Incineroar to get in, and the one gimmick that he does have is relatively exploitable. And clearly Polar is able to like work around that because he has a solid grip on this character, enough to really give Polaris a run for his money.
Yeah, absolutely. After game two, I would start thinking of maybe a different strategy if I was Polaris. I would still be like, I would still be mostly very campy. I still stand by the fact that if you utilized your projectiles enough, even if Polar keeps throwing out revenge, if you're just trying to keep zoning him, what's he gonna do? He can't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like we saw that a little bit near the end of game two because, excuse me. Falcon.
That was like a raptor strike. It's a raptor boost, but I call it raptor. I don't want to get into it. I have my reasons.
Now that's comedy. But
now that was epic.
But yeah, like I was saying, in game two we saw a little bit of Polaris's better strategies by throwing out a lot more grenades, keeping them cooked so that way they explode a lot quicker, keeping C4 out, up smash. He was just throwing his stuff out so that way he masterminded some stage control.
Yeah, if I was Snake in this situation, I would just be doing everything I can to try to stay away from Polar. Like, literally, projectiles, 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 throw out a dash attack, maybe get in a grab every once in a while, but only when I'm sure I've got him in a bad spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really got to give props to Polar, making us...
Yep. Because
getting a stop down.
Yeah, at the end of the day, all you need to do, you don't even really need to throw out any sort of like big attacks that could put you in bad positions or get you close to Incineroar. Just keep throwing out those projectiles until he gets off stage, and at that point, you have a 90% chance of killing him. You don't need to get close to him.
That's true. The buffed up B is nice, but at the end of the day, he's still really gimpable. And I feel like we haven't seen a lot of Polaris going...
Good tech! Good tech!
We've seen him do good tech, but we haven't seen him going off the edge to edge guard Polar's Incineroar, I feel.
Yeah, honestly, you could. I've seen it before where Snakes really like to utilize the Nokita missile to just try to get an easy gimp, but then all of a sudden they'll run off fair.
Yeah, that's true. And he's going to run off that left blast zone, getting an even stock and relatively even percentages. Polar doing work.
I do think that Polar is doing as good of a job as you possibly could recovering with Incineroar. He hasn't really been able to utilize... I don't know if you change it up at all, because I would say just don't up B, try to trick him, and then go for, like, directional air dodge. But if Nikita goes right towards you, you're just dead. Because especially if you don't get any height from it, your up B is just going to send you straight down.
That was an interesting move from Polar, but I feel that it was a bit misused. Doing the early version of side B, it does give you less damage, and I feel like because you had 2 stocks there and already had him in that side B lock, you could have gone for a solid Lariat like you saw right there. I mean, it still did damage, but you would have racked up a lot more earlier when you had both stacks of revenge.
That's a good point. The edge tag coming out there from Polaris. I'm real quick, if I could take a break from this match. Saying the names of these opponents has been the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Thank you.
It's been
finally.
It has just been complete. My mind is just unraveling. Kind of like how Polaris is unraveling in this set. I mean, he has lost. He's behind again to Incineroar.
Solid transition, and I wholeheartedly agree. These similar names have got to stop, like that second, stock getting out of here from Polar.
Oh boy, it's not even like Polar is like, it's like a bear, man. It's like in Antarctica. Like he's like a big fire cat. Do you think irony was meant, or do you think Polar means for something else?
You know what? I think he actually picked the name Polar because he names Incineroar, and that's the closest to big bear character we really have in Smash.
That's so ironic.
Like who else is a bear? Let's be real.
Yeah, it's Bowser. I mean, he's not. He's not. I don't want it to get it twisted that I think Bowser's a bear.
He's clearly reptilian.
He's definitely not. But I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, is it closer than a cat that's really big and shoots flames out of his butt? I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, one's furry, one is spiky. That's all I'm gonna say.
One's scaly. And speaking of scaly, this snake over here is not having a good time at all versus this Incineroar. He's really has not been able to keep Polar away as much as I think he would have success doing so in a matchup like this.
Yeah, he's still cooking his grenades. He's still throwing them out there, but Polar seems to have figured out his playstyle, revenging where he can, and bobbing and weaving through every one of these profiles. And that Lariat is gonna not do it.
Oh,
it ain't over.
Oh man, Polar had a sigh of relief. He like whipped back his head and like, oh thank God, and then he realized this snake was not dead.
Yeah, the snake's really good at not dying. He survived falls from waterfalls. That's a weird sentence, but it makes sense. I swear to God, just play MPS3. Much like how Polaris is trying to play the game.
Oh my God! Okay, getting back on stage there is so huge. Like I talked about before, being off stage with Incineroar in this situation is so bad, but he's got neutral again, dude. That's so dangerous. If he gets this revenge, anything kills.
That's true.
He can sneeze on him. Anything kills.
You're not wrong. One stock of revenge will literally do it. Can he take advantage of this? Yes, he can!
Oh, he got it!
Yes, he can! Polar takes round 2 of winners, baby!
Man, dude, that's crazy. All right, let's talk about this for a second because
what an interesting match.
This Incineroar